All right, good afternoon.
You know anything more about DeSean than you did last night?
A little bit, but as I said after the game, and I think on Angela this morning, he did feel some discomfort, when he was in there. So we, for really precautionary measures, we decided to keep him out, and evaluate him. We are gathering still some more information on him. Um, and obviously this is our bye week, so we're going to get all the information and see where we're at with him.
What more information? I mean, is he undergoing more tests?
Yeah, just want to get second and third opinions, and just make sure that we're doing right by him, first and foremost, and making sure that everything's covered.
Is there any regret in playing him yesterday?
No.
And why not?
I mean, going into the game, going into his rehab, what he had been doing, he was really, as I had mentioned, he'd been busting his tail, to get back out on the field, and he had a really good week of practice. We limited him even in practice, but what he could do, he was feeling good, and so I have no regrets putting him out there.
You said on the radio that you're confident he'd be ready for the Patriots. I mean, is that still?
It's still. I mean, it's still a little. Until we gather this information that we're going to get, I'm not gonna speculate one way or the other right now.
Is managing his way through the discomfort something that he just might have to get used to?
I think with this injury and with most injuries with players, sometimes you gotta just play through it and deal with it, but at the same time we got to be smart and do what's right by the player as well.
Mac and JJ, when they've played with DeSean out, whoever the third receiver's been, neither of them have a catch since September. Why is that?
Well, I think I mentioned last week that even in Mac's case that when you're the sixth, possibly seventh guy, in the progression or in the scheme of things, sometimes it's hard to get the ball going in that direction. We go in thinking, the Alshons and DeSeans and Nellies and the tight ends and backs and stuff like that. And, we ask a lot of those other guys too, in the run game, and they do some great things there. So, the ball's going to find, usually the open guy and find the completion that way. And we just got to continue to work.
When that is the case, though, does it make the offense a little bit more difficult to call plays for if one of the guys is maybe not so much of a factor?
Not really. I still think you run your offense, and we still have to put our best players, on the field at the time, and it's where we are.
Should DeSean have had surgery week 2?
That's not for me to answer.
Who is it for? I mean, is it DeSean's choice? Is it your medical staff? Is it Howie? Who can answer that question?
Well, I would say DeSean, if he wanted to, like Corey, for instance, Corey elected to, have some stuff done. Players elect to have stuff done, I think ultimately DeSean didn't want to have, surgery when it happened, rehabbed it, and got himself in a position to play. So, I can't put words in players' mouths or doctors' mouths. So that's not my position.
How close were you to? How reluctant to you, or were you reluctant at all to not play him yesterday with an extra week, giving him essentially 3 more weeks to heal something that wasn't addressed surgically?
I mean, sitting here today, you kind of go, all right, maybe you should have. You're second guessing now, and we're in a business where we gotta play, and we gotta play with the guys that are in uniform. And again, he busted his tail to put himself in a position to help us yesterday, and again, he just felt that discomfort, so we kept him out, and that's where we are.
You've gotten some good play from Andre Dillard in place of JP. When JP's healthy, is it still his job?
Yeah, I think moving forward, something we'll evaluate this week. I've been real impressed with Andre. Number one, he had another good game yesterday. with these two pass rushers with Khalil and Leonard Floyd, I mean, played well. I do think when JP is healthy and comes back, I still think it's JP's position, moving forward.
So that may be
that left side of
right
him.
after the bye, you think?
If JP's ready to go, yes.
Doug, when you
Doug, with JJ, it seemed like he was emitting some good signs in the offseason. Seemed like he was progressing well, making plays, at least in that setting. What kind of things do you look for out of a young player like that that tells you whether he's ready for kind of the next step to be involved in the game plan?
I mean, I think number one is the mental side of the offense. How much do they know? What do they how much can they take from the classroom to the practice field, and then does it translate to the game? And then what they do in practice. In young players' cases, like JJ being behind Alshon, for instance. I mean, he's kind of learning, from Alshon. He's doing everything right. He's practicing hard, and sometimes it's just hard to get on the field because of that. And one of the things that we like about JJ is his versatility, the fact that he can play, really all three spots and move them around. And so being able to do that obviously allows us to find, a position, or at least find, some snaps for guys like that. And I think, moving forward, that's something, and that's kind of what this week is for us as a staff on offense, is to see how we can maximize our potential that way.
Doug, what's your message to Sidney Jones right now, and what would he have to do to get back on the field?
I think Sidney's in a great spot, honestly. We just had to make a decision, a tough decision yesterday, and Sidney's healthy and had to make a decision there. But he's in a really good spot. He continues to work. He practices well. He plays hard when he was in there, in the Buffalo game, and you never know. Just sometimes it's dependent on game plan. How many corners or safeties, or do you need more receivers, whatever it might be, to get the 46 up on game day. But he's playing with a lot of confidence. He's got that back, and he's in a good spot.
If I can follow up, Doug, I mean, this is a second-round draft pick in his third season. He shouldn't be inactive on Sunday. Would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, and listen, you got to understand that, special teams becomes a factor too. And right now, special teams is probably the difference, the deciding factor. And it just so happens that he's the guy right now. He's the one that's kind of caught in that middle.
It seems like Miles has been a little more consistent the last couple of weeks. Have you noticed that, and what's been the difference?
Consistent?
Yeah.
With Miles?
Yeah. Consistent.
I think he's just each week just learning from the week before. Just learning and watching the tape, and Deuce has done a great job of coaching him up and seeing the things that he can benefit, moving forward with. And we're finding different ways to utilize him, whether it's in an empty package or in the backfield with Jordan, or running routes. So I think that consistency is just coming from the more he plays, and the more he's seeing himself on film and making the corrections.
At the top of the receiver, I'm sorry.
Speaking of consistency, as you go into the bye week now, knowing all the highs that you've had, knowing all the lows that this team has had, how do you find that consistency overall?
Well, I think that's the challenge this week as a staff, to go back and just assess and reevaluate and really break down these first, these 9 games, and really look at it with open eyes. Honestly, we're not game planning this week, so we get a chance to do that. And I think out of this we have to find consistency especially in our passing game. I mean, we got to find a common thread there, and we got to see what has been the breakdown. Right? You got to be able to target an area, and then okay, here's our plan to fix it. So these next couple of days will be important for us to make those decisions and try to be a little more consistent moving forward.
As a follow-up to that, on the top of the wide receiver depth chart, Alshon and Nelson, who you've invested a lot in, who you game plan for, how would you evaluate the way they're playing so far this year?
I think overall they've been good, but I would say they haven't been great. I think they would echo that. I think Alshon yesterday, had some opportunity, and had chances, and I believe he would own up to that, to make some of the catches that he missed yesterday. So he's a professional about it, and Nelly the same way. I think too that we just got to continue to work with these guys. I mean, every week's a new week, every week's a new set of challenges, and as we put game plans together, we do think about these guys and putting them into positions. And look, sometimes you get in a game and, I'm the one calling the plays, and sometimes the game kind of steers a different direction, than what you think during the week. But I think overall these guys are really have been in a position to help and help us win, and got a lot of confidence in both those guys, moving forward.
Why did you like to go back to?
When you look at the left side of your offensive line, Andre and Isaac, it's kind of a look at the future. What have you seen as they grow together from them, maybe behind the scenes or on the field? I mean,
Yeah, I think obviously there's communication is big for the offensive line. Both those guys have really for the 3.5 games they've been together now, really have gelled and have kind of been on the same page, and there's a lot of communication. It starts with Kelsey, obviously, and moves outward. But you see him passing off games. You see him, blocking schemes and different things, combo blocks and all that stuff that it kind of takes some time, to develop. And you see a little chemistry with those two, and that's obviously, as you mentioned, possibly the future there, at that left side. And Andre is really he's been a bright spot for us. He's been.
Did you think about going for the fourth down at the end of the game instead of kicking a field goal? And then also, why did you?
If it was 4th and 1, probably there. I really thought about going for it in that situation. Then the 3 points were big too, to go up 8. So.
And then why did you elect to defer again? Go back.
Because we won.
Doug, with the
No, you saw what happened. I mean, we had a chance at the end of half, and we had the ball. We didn't execute very well, but then we got the ball to start the second half and scored. So potentially we could have had at least 10 points. Hopefully a field goal at the end of the half. It didn't pan out that way, but again, it kind of works out to have an extra possession in the first half.
Hey, Doug, with the uncertainty around DeSean and maybe the production at wide receiver not being exactly where you'd like it, are you anticipating any moves this week at wide receiver?
At this point, something we'll take a look at. We got to take a look at it. Obviously, it's real. We're at the sort of the halfway point, a little over a game over the halfway point of our season, and we got time, this week to make these decisions. But we'll take a look at it. But nothing right now.
Doug, one more on Sidney. Just why doesn't he play special teams? Most young D-backs, corners, do play a lot on special teams.
He does play. He's in more of a backup role, on special teams right now, and it's something that too, when a lot of times it comes out of from college. A lot of times starting DBs, even coming out of college, sometimes they don't play a ton of special teams. It's a lot like JJ. JJ coming out of college didn't play a ton of special teams. We're trying to get him also involved, with the special teams and units that way. And we got to continue just to work with these guys. I mean, it's we ask everybody to, have a secondary role, on the team, unless of course you're, an offensive lineman or, a starting corner or running back or something like that. But we just continue to work with them, and find ways to use these guys as we go.
Thanks,
All right, thanks.